In Jamaica, Transport and Works Minister Mike Henry wants to revamp the entire public transportation sector. Making his contribution to the sectoral debate on Wednesday, Minister Henry said the Sunshine City of Portmore is atop his agenda with a new transport hub to be constructed shortly.
This is why the development of the Portmore hub is very important. Mr. Speaker, the building of a new Portmore transportation hub on that piece of undeveloped land at the Portmore town centre is an important element, because we have to look at how we rescue and change what is the philosophy that relates to KMTR, which is separated from the rest of the world at a different cost, where we really cater to the elitist educational structure rather than the wide element of education which needs transport throughout the whole country. The Portmore hub is estimated to cost us over £47 million. The hub is intended to improve the service planning of the JUTC by reducing the number of kilometers traveled and associated costs while increasing the passenger load factor of each trip. Mr. Speaker, we anticipate that the hub will encourage some commuters who now travel via private transportation to use the public transportation system. Especially this could reduce the number of motor vehicles between Portmore and Kingston and St. Andrew, and as a consequence, increase the ridership of public transportation. The feasibility studies for the proposed hub was completed and submitted at the end of April this year. And Mr. Speaker, we are now preparing a submission which will be sent to the Public Investment and thereafter to Cabinet for approval.
Minister Henry stated that this year's budget allocation only made allowance for the purchase of 35 new buses for the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC. However, the minister revealed that he will be seeking cabinet approval to overhaul the entity. Mr. Henry promised to publicly divulge how the JUTC has fallen into disrepair at the hands of the previous administration.
A draft cabinet submission has been prepared asking the cabinet to grant approval for the purchase of new buses which are important to the structure and the continuity of the JUTC. Mr. Speaker, cabinet is being asked to consider budgetary support which relates to also the special consumption tax and the ad valorem tax associated with the purchase of fuel by the bus company. In terms of further particulars about the JUTC's present position and its future, Mr. Speaker, I reserve those for a press conference soon to be held in the next 2 weeks to reveal the true picture of the company, which over recent years has been painted through intense public relations as a smooth-running and efficiently operating entity.
Meanwhile, the Transport Minister highlighted the inequity of the public transportation system. He says transit in Jamaica is heavily subsidized by taxpayers, and while corporate area travelers utilize the services, these benefits are not being felt in rural areas.
In the parishes of Manchester, Clarendon and St. Elizabeth, the average mother spends $800, $600 to $800 getting their children to school. 5 times 6 or 800 is well above the minimum wage. And if anyone doubts the figures, I'll use Maypen as an example. $70 from Buckner to the Clock Tower, $100 to $120 if you're going to Vertec, and a little more if you're going to Clarendon College. That's 191 way. When you get dropped off at that point, you pay another $60 maybe to reach the school gate. That's repeated, so the average is $600 to $800, while we underwrite the KMTR at $60. Imagine if we put back in the pockets of every mother in those 4 parishes alone, and there are 6 such parishes that relate. That is more than giving them an increase in any salary and putting back spendable money in their pocket and pride or recognition.